Call the meeting of the Education Government Committee to order. First up, discussion. Any committee members or legislators have anything they would like to discuss? Hearing none, our first scheduled discussion is on a motion to reconsider. This we had briefly talked about last month at our full legislative meeting. Our current rules of procedure do go further than Robert's rules in defining how a motion to reconsider can be made. However, there are some areas that could require some clarification. I wanted to bring it up this evening to get some feelings from the legislature to see about possibly incorporating some changes either immediately or come January when we adopt new rules of procedure. Our current rule states that no motion for the reconsideration of the vote upon any question shall be entertained unless moved by a supervisor who voted in the majority upon such question before the adjournment of the following regularly called board meeting. Couple things that I saw, and I think the county attorney agreed could be clarified a little, is it says majority. Sometimes there is no majority per se, but there is always a prevailing side. Robert's rules state that it's anybody from the prevailing side, where the standard code of parliamentary procedure states that anybody can do it, so as to not encourage one person to switch sides. It could be made by anyone. And also, Robert's rules goes on to highly suggest that there should be a sunset provision. Generally, if it's a one-day meeting, having a motion to reconsider only be allowed to be made at that meeting. But of course, that could be decided, and I just wanted to bring it up and see if any legislators had anything they'd like to say about it.
I totally agree. I think case in point, the very last time it was a 4-4 split, and because there was one legislator absent, it was a 5-4. So while we were able to come to a conclusion on that legislation, I think this is a great point. And coming to a meeting of the minds, I think is a wonderful idea. So meeting about it, talking about it, and maybe doing it whether in the future or before January would be a great idea. Thank you.
Any thoughts on whether what the timeline should be? Our current one says that at the following regularly scheduled board meeting, which would be our 4th Tuesday, as is set forth in our current rules of procedure, but that could be changed to include, say, at the meeting, the original meeting that it was brought up, the next meeting, whether it be special meeting or regularly scheduled, but that could be changed as well. Again, just wanted to bring it up for some discussion, get you all thinking about it. I don't think this is something that comes up too often, but it should be, I think, something that we address at least in January when we adopt new rules of procedure.
I personally would just like it to be clear. No matter, even if I don't like it or like how it is, I just want it to be clear so that we know. I'll give you a good example. When that issue that Barb was just talking about came up, you rightfully so pointed out, it says next special meeting or next meeting. And say it can be done at a special meeting, which brings about, confusion. As long as it's spelled out and we understand it, I can live with it. I just want to know what it is I got to live by.
Any other discussion on motion to reconsider? Okay. Our next topic of discussion is a proposed ethics law that was primarily worked on by legislator Kelly. You all should have gotten actually 2 emails with a code of ethics. The second one had corrected a couple typographical errors. Just to go through some of the big changes, this is unlike our procurement policy where we really started from scratch on this, this is something that we built off of, Legislator Kelly built off of using our standing ethics code, which is fairly strong. Just this tied up some loose ends, clarified some items. Some big things that I noticed that had been changed in this draft would be the definition of immediate family member. And the new definition mirrors that of the New York State model law to include, I believe, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, some that were not included in the standing Montgomery County Code of Ethics. Also, it changes when you report. Currently, our ethics code says that you will report the following year, meaning that none of us are required to report until next year. This new ethics law would require everybody to report on or before March 1st, and that would even be the first year coming in. So there would be no question about any conflicts of interest, which I think is a very good thing. The revolving door provision is also clarified and cleaned up so that there are no separate provisions if you took action or did not take action, because that's very hard to pinpoint what taking action means, whether you vote on it and so on, having discussions on it. As for the Board of Ethics itself, this new draft ethics law expands the size of it to include 2 additional members, one of which would be a Montgomery County employee, the other being an employee of another municipality within Montgomery County, however not being the county. The 3 other members would all be people who have not served or been compensated by any municipality within Montgomery County for a period of no less than 2 years. So that would be, the 3 people that would really have no connections to municipal government, and then having those other 2 there as well to aid in discussion. Additionally, though all 5 appointments would be made by the county executive. This is one of those things that the state law, it's made by the chief elected officer, and just making that clear in our local law so that we don't have to decipher what to do with this old law. And one thing that I really think is great in this is it requires annual meetings. So there is some language there that requires the Board of Ethics to meet annually and go through the financial disclosures so that they're actually being used and people are reviewing these. And lastly, Article 3 of this draft code is brand new to the county. Some other counties have it. And what it requires is any vendors or contractors making a bid for any contract, any compensation from the county needs to file a disclosure with their bid. So as any elected official, any appointed official, any employee has to file a disclosure under the current law, this would require anybody bidding to say, we have no conflicts of interest, or define what the conflicts of interest may be, which I think is really great because it allows, that double, that double view on that. But other than that, I'd open up the floor to any discussion on the draft ethics law that's been sent out.
Okay, when you say no compensation of any sort, would that also mean a retiree? Because any compensation in any way, shape, or form monetarily could mean, we could go anywhere with that. So, to be vested in the community you live in, that's, or a retiree from the county, from the city, from municipalities, I think, has that been?
That's something, this being a draft, we are not looking to move it forward to pass this evening, but I will definitely take that into consideration and take a look at that and how it's stated in the draft law that's sent out by the state, and see, we've got the challenge of living in a very small county, so you don't want to disqualify everybody, but you do want to have a ethics board that is up to snuff.
Because I'm thinking of some of the present and past board members, so I'm trying to think how that might be relative. And also, when you're saying March, right now we disclose in January. We fill out forms. So you're thinking about just moving that to March.
Yes, and the one big thing with that is that it requires, with us, under the old law, you do not need to file a financial disclosure until the following year after serving a full year. Where this would require you to disclose on March 1st of your first year here, and get all those disclosures, and if there are any issues, get those known right away.
I know that you're saying we do that now. You yourself, because you were a previous.
That's why I do it every year. Okay. I'm like, that's not true. I just did it.
The new members,
Okay.
it's a year lag.
Understand. Okay.
We just
Thank you.
we don't want to have, somebody look at it and say, oh, well, there was an possible ethical violation, but it happened a year ago. We like to.
Understood.
The current ethics law, and Doug, you know better than I do probably, I just know it had mention of party affiliation. It could be 3 different parties. So there's no mention of party affiliation in this at all, so therefore it could be whatever it is, it is. Your only qualification that you're saying is it's what you just stated earlier.
Employment, yes.
Employment, or so it could be, doesn't matter.
Well, it's just like any confirmation that any appointment the executive makes has to be confirmed by the legislature. So there is that check and balance.
But the party affiliation doesn't matter, is what I'm saying. There is no, yes, there's a check and balance that can, okay.
Now, it's my strong belief that with any municipal government, a strong ethics law, strong procurement, strong audit guidelines, if you have 3 strong documents there, you're going to eliminate 95% of your problems, if not more. And I'd like to put this up next month for adoption. So over the next month, if there's any concerns you may have reading through it, please don't hesitate to reach out to either Martin or myself, or anybody for that matter. And I think we should, I'll take a look at this and make it a very strong law that's going to yield good results.
I just want to ask one question. Is there a reason particularly why, and you chose not, listen, if we could erase the political parties and have everybody get along, it'd be a happy, peaceful world. But I think one of the securities that some people feel with having 3 different parties, and then you have 2 others, maybe to balance it out. But let's say if there's a stronghold for both branches, 15, 20 years down the line, let's say, by putting the ethics board as three branches of the party, whatever they may be, and we've said this before, whether it's the working families, the Greenpeace, the whatever it is, it's 3 different political parties. Is there a reason why it wasn't that, or? Please, thank you.
Some of us have talked about this, and there have been mentioned that it's very difficult to get people to volunteer for these committees, and they're very crucial to having good government, is having activism from the citizens. And their input, and it keeps we're talking checks and balance with the executive between the legislature and vice versa. Now this tool here is the check against both of us. And I think by eliminating the party affiliations with the ethics, or proposing to eliminate, opens the door a little bit more for more people to serve on this, who are interested in becoming active in local government and keeping us honest.
Any other discussion on the proposed ethics law? Okay. Well, this will come back up hopefully next month for adoption, and like I said, anything in the meantime, please.
If we have a thought after and we want to forward it to you or to Martin and you two get together, if somebody does, could you just, are you going to, I guess the question is, are you going to share it ahead of time so we have a time to think about it, not just that night at the committee meeting and then, you know.
Of course, and you know, if it's being sent through the county email, by all means, you know, it can be sent to everybody, and those are public. So, you know, those items can be discussed, and that way we can have a law ready to be passed come next month and get this in place. And
or prior to the meeting a week before, if you had a list of things, you just list them to us. Some things that come in, I don't need to know who or who's, you know, I just want to know what they are so we talk about it.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, yes, just to be clear, so then we will see this thing in some final form before it goes to
Yes.
vote, first going through committee again. We'll be able to see this in...
Yes, so I would like to put it on for adoption under Education and Government Committee next month,
Right.
and that will be in its final form.
Thank you.
So even if it gets changed that last minute, we will have 2 weeks to review that final form before adoption.
Thank you.
Okay. On to our first and only resolution of the evening. It's a resolution rescheduling the September board meeting, Office of the Legislature. I'll sponsor this resolution. Is there a second? Legislator Wheeler. This resolution reschedules the board meeting from September 22nd to September 29th. The reason being there are 5 of us that have registered to attend the NISAC conference in Buffalo, which is going to be taking place the 21st through the 23rd, so there would be no quorum in attendance. Any discussion? Wishes of the committee?
Move it to full board.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and that passes. Under other, there's just one item I'd like to bring up. It's something that I've come across, and I think it's some other counties do this in New York State. The legislatures do this, and we had some discussion at the beginning of the year, making sure that the legislature has all the information it needs in written form to make justified decisions when adopting resolutions. Suffolk County has a procedure in which every introduced resolution is accompanied by a statement of financial impact. And my thought in this was if these resolutions are coming in and they have a resolution request system now that are indicating from the department heads what are the financial, what are the legislative impacts, if our office then in turn took that, maybe did a little investigating, put it all in a form that was attached to every resolution before coming to us, that way all 9 of us are on the same page, all 9 of us have the same information at hand that, you know, looks at the charter, looks at state law, looks at local policies and laws, as well as the budget as a whole, tax caps or tax rates if may be applicable. It seems like a really great, I've actually got a copy here. I think Cheryl does, if any of you would like to take a look. It's a really great form. I think that it really is clear, succinct, has the facts that gets to the point, and I think it may aid in making some decisions in the future. So, yes.
We had started this discussion earlier this year.
Yes.
On this very same thing. We were coming along, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is just a little better format, you think?
This, what this does, how it's different is in the beginning of the year and what we codified in our rules of procedure requires the department head fill out a resolution request that has a number, I believe, nine different blanks that are filled out that come to us. And all this would be doing is taking that information, it would still be presented to us, but the Office of the Legislature would prepare a statement of financial and legislative impact that would have certain questions, such as a detailed explanation of financial impact on funds, tax rates, and even so far as the local economy. But also having a detailed explanation of the impact on the charter, what parts of the charter apply, and that way when it comes to us, it's very clear and succinct.
So you're talking about our legislative person doing that review?
Well, somebody in our office, yes.
Well, then you have two positions.
Well, yes, definitely. So it would either be, I don't know whether that would be something that the clerk could do, but it could be, I think, something that our office put together, present to us, that would actually be attached, be visible for everyone to every resolution before they come into committee. And I think it would take that information that we had started in that discussion at the beginning of the year, take it one step further and add in some other information there. Any thoughts?
I think that's good.
I think the more information we have, I mean, can't go wrong.
Yeah, I'll second that.
Well, I will take that as a positive and work on something over the next month, preparing a some sort of form and see how we want to put this probably in our rules of procedure. And I think it will be great having this information presented, and it will make for more transparent government. So, any other discussion items? Should we go back and make a
Typo.
Can we call it as a typo? Yeah. Barb, were you okay with that if we call it a typo?
Perfectly good.
The 30th?
Tuesday the 30th. Tuesday the 30th, great.
Okay, great. Any other items for discussion? Look for a motion to adjourn. Barbara? Terry? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
I'd like to call the public safety meeting, and is there any discussion before we get started here? Everybody looks so serious tonight. Okay, then if there's no objection, I'd like to move on to the resolutions. And we have the first one we're going to be talking to is the probation, and we have your first, I never met you, so your first name is? Can you, huh? Yeah, I need a sponsor and a second for that, I'm sorry. Okay, and Lucille, correct? Can you come up and explain to us what we're doing here, please? I understand you're retiring soon, or?
No.
No.
But if I wanted to retire at this point in time, I'm well beyond retirement age. In my office, I have two people who would be eligible to assume my position. One is my probation supervisor, who is 62. The other one is a senior probation officer, who's 61. Both of them are contemplating retirement. It takes a senior probation officer 3 years in that position to have the qualifications to become a director. So I would put this in the 2015 budget, but I'm kind of trying to buy time. If I could appoint someone in September, it would give me 4 more months towards that 3 years when that person could potentially assume my position. The state is pretty adamant on the qualifications. They don't grant any waivers, so if someone that was a probation officer wanted to assume the position of director, they probably couldn't get a waiver. So that's the purpose of my resolution, to promote someone now and not backfill, just promote a current probation officer to a senior title.
So for when you decide to retire at some point, right?
Whenever I decide to retire.
Okay,
Right?
that clarifies it, very good. All right, are there any questions? Yes, Tom.
So, does the person, I understand you want to be proactive, but it doesn't necessarily mean the person would come from your office. Anyone could apply or not?
No, there are 5 people eligible in my office right now to assume this. You have to be a probation officer to become a senior probation officer.
From another county?
Well,
No.
for the promotional, you have to work in Montgomery County. For open competitive, it could be from another county. Eventually, they will have to give an exam for this position. That eventually is next June. So probably they would offer two exams, an open competitive and a promotional.
Okay. Barb?
I just want to say you've done an amazing job. It's been an honor watching you. When you have to leave us, it'll be a great loss to Montgomery County. You have been an exemplary leader in your department. You've been an asset to Montgomery County. So I love watching you do what you do.
Thank you.
So you have my full support. Thank you so much, Lucille.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? I'll move this to the full board.
Full board.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Okay. Thank you very, very much for your presentation. Oh, we got the sheriff here again. We're all in trouble today, so Sheriff, come on up.
I'll sponsor.
I need 2 sponsors for this.
I'll sponsor. I'll second.
Roy second. Okay. Very good. We will let you do. We'll let you off the hook. We'll let you off the hook on this one, Barb. Sheriff, come on up. Sheriff has a lot of interesting things to talk about tonight. So.
Yeah. Something good.
Let's talk about the food today. I guess you got someone come by and was looking at your food today.
Well, no, they weren't there to look at the food. Today we had New York State Commission of Corrections in the building, and they were. I called them to come and look at the CPOD dorm that we've been working on, and because I'm trying to get that room opened up and running, that 6-floor beds we can have. And the reason why I asked them to come this week is because they'll be voting within the week at the commission. They have their meeting, once a month meeting, and if I get it on their agenda this month, it'll get approved this month. So I had them come in and they looked at the room, and they were very impressed with the room, how it looked. They stated they'd like to use it for a model as a dorm conversion. But we did a unique design in the ceiling using tin and everything. It came out really well. Very, very happy with the way it looks. So they were very pleased. They said there shouldn't be any problem getting this approved this month. And they'll increase our housing capacity to 177 in the jail. There'll be 6 more beds. So we're very happy with that. And then when they were when we were walking out of the pod, of course the food was rolling by. And of course you get the comments. And we looked at we just happened to open one of the things and look at it, and they were very pleased with the scene. So that's just a normal everyday.
Where did that food thing start anyway? Was it on one of the talk shows or something? Or how did that get started about the food?
Well, there's a lawsuit out there.
Oh, all right. I'm just trying to put a little humor into it, that's all. Okay, very good. And as far as our last arrangement, we're ahead of schedule on that financially?
Yes, what I'll do is I'll give you a real quick recap of what's going on and what I'm asking for, okay? As you remember early in the year, I asked us for funding from the revenues from the federal prisons. And those projects, this is an update on them. Well, one of the items was a vehicle for the jail. I spoke to the company this week, and they said they should be finishing it up this week, hopefully in a couple of weeks, shipping the car to us. And there was a hold on because of a recall for the key for GM. That was one of the problems while we were waiting. The phone system is up and running in our facility, a new phone system. The seating for the jail, the new seating, the stadium seats that we would bolt to the floor instead of the ones that move around, they're in. We just got to wait to get them installed. Construction around central control is done. The reconstruction of the counter area and everything, it's all done already. Our portables that we wanted to purchase for the jail, they've been purchased and they're in use already. The computer server for the camera system, this is going to tie us into the next thing I'm going to ask you. That's in and ready to go. Soft code, which is the civil software that I asked for, they're almost done, or they are done with the forms that we wanted them to do, and they were actually going to install next month, but we have an employee who has a medical issue and is going to be out, and so we asked them to delay it another month, and do the install in October, the 1st of October, which they said they would do. So that's pretty much on track also. And the last thing is the card swipe system that we were looking to upgrade. They have some of the equipment in. They're looking at the engineering and the software right now. We're waiting for them to see which, how long before they get
On
done.
the revenue side, from what I understand, you're about $17,000 ahead
So
of
a
this
little over
point.
$18,000 to the plus side, what I had budgeted. And that only goes to last month. That's not this month. We've been averaging about $95,000, maybe $98,000 a month. So this month, for sure, will get us close to that money that we just gave you to do these projects. Okay, above $700,000. And I had estimated around October, if you were to give me the money tonight that I'm asking for, we should have the current money and the new money back to the county, and then everything else from there is a plus from the $700,000 we go.
We had met with the county administrator, and he says that would be a good thing to do at this point, or they do that before budget time, and it won't wind up being in our capital expenditures next year. We'll be able to use it now, so.
To make, to be able to tackle this $300,000 worth of much needed improvements with no additional impact on the taxpayer this year, I think the sheriff should be commended.
I mean, you really should be, and unless everybody stops committing crimes, we don't have to worry about it. So. Anybody have any questions? Go ahead.
Just a question. I think it's great, all the new income coming in. There shouldn't be any variation in that monthly income. There's not like a...
Well, there is variation.
But it's nothing, it's not going to drop down to 68 instead of 98.
Well, I'm not gonna lie to you, it could.
Uh-huh.
It could where the feds all of a sudden don't have that many in this district anymore for some reason or whatever. It could go up. What we're doing is constantly making phone calls and pulling people in, and it seems to be working pretty good.
But historically speaking, it doesn't taper off in the winter months or anything like that.
I can't say yes, it does. No, it varies. Originally, we had a contract with the Fed where we had to have space for 30 inmates, period. And which was terrible because, at times they would give us 30 inmates and we had to find a place to put them. We don't have that contract anymore. We have contracts with them for transports and to house their prisoners. But we can pretty much set how many we want.
But unless there's any problems, it looks like it's going
every day and ask, my other sheriff, who has the contacts, because that's where he worked, knows who to call and get the money.
Right.
Sheriff, on the card swipe system, is that strictly for security or is that involved with your payroll?
This is a separate system than what the county had. When we built the building back in '97, we decided we didn't want to use the same card you use to get in and out the doors outside the building or for the payroll. And so we went with a different system. Of course, that system now is no more around. So this new system is used for opening certain doors in the jail that are okay because they're not going to escape if they steal one of those cards. They can't get out of the facility. But it's also used as a time clock system.
Okay.
So they have to go around, when they do their rounds, there's certain swipes on the wall that they have to do. And if they don't do it, we bring them in and counsel them because that's how we know that they're not doing the rounds on time.
Thank you.
But they have that system. They installed it in one area, the smallest area we have. They put the computer in with some of the software, and they're testing it, and they have to make some changes. And I'd like to explain the camera system. This is what I'm asking for the money for. We have a camera system. Again, it's from '97. It's falling apart. We have cameras that are down. It's a security issue for us. And we're looking at putting a new system in that's digital. The one we currently have is analog. And what we'd like to do with this system is add cameras where we don't have cameras now. And this system is a hybrid. We'll be able to use the analog that we have also. So we'll be able to keep some, if not all, the cameras that are working right now on this system, besides adding around 97 new cameras. And we'll also, for the first time, we want to put cameras on our radio tower to look down at the property, so we're not blind. The perfect example is the other day we had DPW had a company up on the roof taking care of the air handlers. Well, one correction officer that was in central control knew about it. That person goes on break, and another one's sitting there, and all of a sudden there's stuff coming off the roof. And they wonder what the heck's going on the roof. They don't, they didn't know. And if they had a camera up there, they could switch it up quick and see, it's Johnson Control, they're up there. But, so that we want to enhance what we have now, to have better security in the facility.
Barb?
I have to say it, you do an exemplary job. I want to congratulate you on you do go after whatever the case is for the lawsuits. It's not a laughing matter. You do a great job, Sheriff, in every one that you handle, going from digital to analog. I've had the pleasure of touring the jail, even in the beginning for the CFOD, to increase the size, to increase the revenue. So I want to thank you. It's not easy. It's a paramilitary organization. And you do it with honor. So I thank you for your job. Thanks.
Any questions about?
Any more questions? And I have a...
Either way, we're going to have to upgrade cameras. They're failing at the state's going to say, hey, you got to get them up and running. So I'm trying to get ahead before they fail.
Can we move this to full board?
Full board.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you very much, Sheriff.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, let's see here. This is on Matt's appointment, correct, this resolution? Can you give me an idea? You have a group already picked, or?
Yeah, they were simply the recommendations of the Youth Bureau, and I accepted their recommendations. The only issue here that is of note is that, and this is something we'll address probably later tonight, is there are, I believe, one, maybe two, Cheryl? One that does not live in Montgomery County, but is a member of a community organization in Montgomery County, and that's why that person was recommended. So other than that, that's the only thing of note that would make this not just simply a routine appointment at the recommendation of the Youth Bureau.
Okay, I made a mistake. I have to make, okay. Roy makes the motion. Somebody second that? Barb's, no. Duke. Okay, Duke is seconding that, okay. Can we vote on that now? Doug, or, oh wait, any questions first? Go ahead.
He answered my question.
Mr. Kuchis?
Are there any, is there any language in the governing document of the Youth Advisory Board that would prohibit a non-county resident to serve?
Not that I'm aware of, no. Okay. No, and it was actually a discussion with Brenda that we should probably take a look at the bylaws, because there's a couple of things we want to look at in there, but to include specifically that, we are open to those who are involved with community organizations that work in the county.
How many people are on the advisory board? Do you know?
Oh, off the top of my head, I know it's a challenge sustaining members, just like a lot of these volunteer organizations. Off the top of my head, I think they have to have a minimum of 13.
Okay, but they're going to be going over the bylaws.
13 to 28, you said? Yeah, but so it's getting to that 13 number, and even finding a youth member who can come in the middle of the day for a meeting is a challenge. But yeah, this will get them to their appointment.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Now we can vote on it. I'm going to have to bring the resolution to the full floor. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? It all passes. Okay, anything other we have here tonight, or? Sheriff?
And one more thing, I'm sorry, I forgot to bring up.
Okay.
Should be short.
Go ahead.
I had talked to the county exec about this, but we haven't really finalized our discussion on it. Currently, we have a substation in the town of Amsterdam, a firehouse. We've had it for 14 years now. It's in a newer building, and the room that we're in now is probably maybe only 20 years, 8 years maybe. So, well, anyway, it's less than 14 years. But the room needs to be painted from the use from the deputies, scratching the walls up with the chairs. And also, I would like to be able to purchase some material and either have DPW or an outside person do some paint in that room and maybe put some weight coating up to keep the chairs from destroying the walls. So I'll be talking to the county exec. Just I want to keep you as abreast of what's going on. You know, whether we'll do this and how it will work out. We've had DPW do some painting for us before for when we did a mug shot, the wall for the mug shots. So, and the other thing is, the west end of the county, we've picked up a lot more business in the last couple of years. It's been, for some reason, it's getting very busy up that end of the county. And I've been talking to one of the villages for probably 6 months. And they've approached me and they've agreed, it's the village of Nelson, they'd like to put a substation in their village office building. And they're doing reconstruction in the back of the building, and they've asked if we can purchase any of the material to help build the office for us in there. We would have the use of an office, the bathroom, you know, up there.
Sheriff, you have a car out there mostly now or not?
We have a car
out
in
in
the county every shift.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it would just help out. Down the road, we're hoping to be able to use these substations even more than we're using now. It'd be nice to actually have people go there to work.
Tom?
We get paid for this?
What do you mean you get paid?
I mean, is there a revenue involved? Do the municipalities pay you?
No, no,
Used to.
we don't pay them and they don't pay us. We just use the space.
Okay. So we used to do that like a Glen or something, sure. Was it
No.
Fultonville?
No.
We didn't charge them?
We've never paid for the space and they've never paid us. We're in their building using their lights, their electric, their bathroom, all their supplies. And basically what we offer them in Amsterdam right now, Hageman, is kind of like a security. We're there in the middle of the night, nobody's there sometimes, so that somebody's checking the building.
Just as a thought, and Roy just brought it up, I think it's a good idea, but the sewer district building that we have is literally a stone's throw from that building in Nelson. Just something to think about. We already maintain that.
I don't care. I just wanted to.
Is there room?
I think it's very.
Is there room?
Well, I think we did, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how big that room is, I've never seen it, but we don't need a very large room.
We have,
Half the office.
there's offices there, I mean, and I don't believe we're, you know, it's a little more, I don't know, but it's literally, it's on the same side of the bridge.
You're talking down past that gate?
Past the Elks.
But the
All the way to the end,
pump house there.
yeah. Past the Elks, all the way to the end. I don't care, I'm just threw it out there.
Ronnie, you had a question?
Oh, I just wanted to comment. I believe Legislator Quackenbush, what he was thinking, Fultonville, I believe, used to have a contract with the Sheriff's Department for additional.
Oh, we had enhanced patrols, yeah, we still have some in the town, still have some of that.
That's what I thought was going on.
And we have the court security.
That still happens?
Court security?
I mean, whenever, do we get revenue from?
Yes, from outside.
That's what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I get Tom to be quiet.
And by the way, we're on track with you gave me $10,000 early in the year to take care of the court security. And I've been reporting back to the county exec, I don't know how far it gets, but I'll tell you anyway, we're on track right now to spend exactly $10,000, we're doing very good. So, and actually received the $10,000 back from the town.
Mr. Bediak?
Sheriff, I know we've had quite a few conversations about the traffic up at Route 30, the amount of vehicles speeding, and your answer to me is that you don't have the people or the coverage. Is there a point, did you put in your new budget extra patrols, or how are you compared to years ago for patrols now?
Well, this year budget, from the last board, I got 2 new positions. One position's filled already.
Okay.
The second position, I'm hoping within a month or two to have another person on board. The person's still being trained. It takes a year to get somebody squared away. I hired these people not too long ago, and I hired them part-time to go to the school. So when they get out in January, they're all trained, ready to go. But it takes time. I didn't put any deputies in next year's budget for the road patrol because, I have other projects I'm working on.
Okay.
I would like to see us get back. We're down 5 deputies from where we were a few years ago. I'd like to get back to that. And at that time, we used to have a car assigned to the town of Amsterdam alone. because it's so busy up there.
Okay.
But we don't have that staff anymore to do that. Maybe in the future, yeah, if we get this other deputy on board, we might be able to do it. But it wouldn't be a constant thing because I'm still down 5. We actually, in the summertime, we actually put a deputy in extra patrol up west in towns of Palatine and St. Johnsville because of the problem with the bridge. And if you've been reading the paper the last 6, 7 months, we've had a lot of serious things going on in that area of the county that we've been taking care of. This last quote, we just had a deputy right in the area. And it just, he got there right away to take care of this person. One of the nursing homes. So, we're getting busier and busier, it seems, for some reason. And then that's why I like to have, I've been wanting to have the substation up there because the seed is growing more busy and busy.
Thank you.
I don't care if it's had the village building or the county building, as long as I had one. The village will like us because, again, security.
Right.
You're out there pretty well. There's usually a car out there because I go out there a lot to the other station we have. And generally a car out there, so. Thank you very much, Sheriff. Yeah. Is there anything else? Any others? And then I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.
Motion.
Oh, wait, I have one more thing to say. Is that the executive pulled the public defender resolution for today, so that's off of the agenda.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.